But I would just like us to move towards like this the part of the abuse or training, whatever we want to call it, whereby the responsibility of training your child is handed over to a church, or handed over to a school, or handed over to a person, expecting the person to do your work, all in the name of like, oh, I'm paying this amount of money to this school to train you. I'm like, to train your own child. Bullshit. Sorry, I'm cussing, but that's bullshit. You can continue.
I would say something to that. I went to a boarding school.
Okay.
So Lagos State Model College, Bokuta people. I went to a boarding school, and my parents handed me over to a teacher. They used to call them guardians. Yeah. And this guardian, my dad would give her money, like 30,000 naira for a term.
Oh, okay.
40,000 naira for a term. And for her to release this money little by little. Anybody who went to Lagos State Model College in my time would know that by 12 o'clock, you can stand in front of her house, you make up this line, and then she has a book with your name and the days, she did it with, very planning.
Yeah.
And you would come, you go to Anya Princess, and then she would just mark it how much she gave to you. She always gives like 5 or 10 naira. And if she gives you 20 naira, it's like, what do you want to use 20 naira for? That was when Nigerian money was still, what do you want to use? You have to tell her why you want to use 20 naira.
When 20 naira was 20 naira.
Yeah.
You get a very nice break.
And then,
you are having a wonderful break. 20 naira. Do you know what I'm talking about?
For the whole weekend.
Hey, I'm getting Oba with nice bread.
You get 20 naira. I'm telling you. It's on Friday you get 20 naira. And then you tell her why. And then you notice that my money was 10,000 or 20,000 remaining. And then all of a sudden she'll be like, your money is getting finished too. It's remaining like 200 naira. You're like, eh? How much? What did I use? And my daddy loved this woman so much.
She's the best person.
My daddy loved her so much. My daddy was even helping her personally. Right? That means she would come to our house in Oshodi. My dad would give her or give her husband some jobs and stuff. She took money from my dad, and then we just noticed that in school she would take my money would not be okay, or she would abuse me. But she didn't abuse me that much. Maybe because I feel now that it wasn't that much. But you know what she did. I'm
sorry, it was an abuse. Yeah, I think you're trying to pull it down. Yeah. There was an abuse. That's just like these excuses we normally end up just making.
Exactly.
It's not an abuse. It's something close to abuse. It was an abuse. Call it what it is.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's like a subculture. Like you're stopping it down because you feel that other abuse are more than this abuse.
I know, yeah.
It's also an abuse. Yeah, as in her taking the money, her abusing you sometimes, her telling you that, hey, that thing is not enough. Who do you think you are? Is it because your daddy has money, you feel you come and take extra money? Or, it's just like that until I think I was like in SS2, I think SS1, when I told my dad I don't want my money to be with her anymore. And because I laid my reasons down and said, the money you give to me is never enough for me. My dad is like, I give more money than you think. And I'll be like, okay, it doesn't get to me. So at that SS1, I think I was a big girl. So I told him
you already arrived.
And then I started giving it to my friend. She's now in America, who was holding it. As in, she was my school mother.
Okay.
So I gave it to her to keep my money for me, which was more better than this one. Yeah. And then I realized that I think when I was in SS2 or SS3, my dad helped her because she said she needed some money to do some business. She would return it, brought her a whole lot of deal. My dad gave her the money to start this business, and then she ran away with it. Really, it was a matter of police and army. That's how bad it was. Until now, we can't find her. I think my dad can say the story more better. But for me, English, she says the girl, searching my money. I was no more dealing with this woman, and the school actually took her out. The school took her out because of the things she was involved with.
She was abusing the kids there. And you know the funny thing about it, Princess, just let me break you for a short time. The funny thing about it is that this is the same person you are trying to like defend or like be like, you were not abused. you're not just like abused emotionally, she was abusing you in different levels, and you are subconsciously, like you said, trying to be like, oh no, but she, sorry, come on. So you can continue, but I'm like,
No, it's okay.
yeah.
You could continue.
Yeah, for me personally, my experience there, I also went to boarding school, Marist Brothers Junior. It's Uturu for people who know it. I think it was popular, or it's still popular. It was a missionary school. It was a Catholic school. So we had like Marist Brothers. They're like Reverend Brothers. So that means they don't get married. They sacrifice their life to God according to them. So they don't get married. They don't have kids. That's good. And at that moment, you're handed over to such a person, all in the name of training. I know where it comes from. I know it comes from the colonial times, okay? Whereby the religious ones are the one who could train your child, set your child in the right path.
More better.
Exactly, train your child in godly way. And also, it's also a condemnation to our system of education in Nigeria, whereby the government can produce a quality education, and the religion or the churches or whatever you want to call it are now taking over those responsibilities, and they are making a lot of money out of it. Call it what it is. They are becoming billionaires out of it, because our parents believe that they are going to do the job better, and the parent hands over his or her own responsibility to these people
else
to do their job. You pay millions for someone else who doesn't have their own child, who doesn't know what the love of a child is, to train your child. Do you know the scam in it? I'm going to call it a scam because it's a very heavy scam. The heavy scam in it's like, hey, okay, with all due respect, Mr. Kweme, he's like the best among he wasn't the Reverend Brother. He was a teacher there. I respect him. I think he was the best one there. But let me go for them. As I was saying, the scam, the biggest scam in is that those people you're handing over your child to, they're not the one training your child. We are being trained by other kids like us. The ones in SS3, the ones in SS2, and the ones in SS1.
Yeah.
So that means you took your responsibility as a parent and gave it to another child to take care of. Because at the end of the day, the teachers leave the school, they go home. The brothers, they go to their nice apartments where they have their nice meal, have their nice television, have a good time. And you hand over that responsibility to another child to train your own child, somebody who doesn't have any experience. That's like a very big form of abuse.
I think this abuse that we're talking about now is like what is making the wave right now in Nigeria with the boarding school. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yes, I've heard about it, and I'm happy about
it. This young boy who was, abused by his seniors, who they beat him to batter, as in to
death.
To death. Yeah, they beat him to death, and the school did not come out for it. The parents of the abusers did not bring out their children. Until now, there is no talk about this. It's just like also the other child that went to Deeper Life boarding school in Calabar that was raped by his fellow boys.
Exactly.
And this boy came back, and Deeper Life tried every possible way to kill that baby boy. By putting the doctors to give him HIV, by putting the doctors to kill him. It's just that the woman, as in the mother, was so strong enough to block every incoming and wait for her baby boy. Yes, it's going to be traumatizing for that boy because everybody knows who he is.
It's not just.
But I mean, it's a cry out to other parents to say, "Hey, look at what boarding school does to your children."
The boy is already traumatized. He's already traumatized.
Yeah, he's traumatized.
Even without the media attention.
He's dead. Yeah, he's dead. Okay. There is one that I saw 3 weeks ago. Another boy died in the boarding school. I mean, it is now because there's social media.
Exactly.
I don't know if you understand. In my own boarding school at that time, there was a senior that did this to a young boy. That boy was like in GSS2 or something. I don't know if Lagos State Boarding College people would know this in my set. There is this senior, George or Hart or something like that. He used fleet. Fleet now, this raid. This mosquito raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used it, told the boy to open his mouth, his private parts, and put it all through, like all through. And this boy was sick. They took him home. He didn't talk. He was in a hospital. And then all of a sudden, they had to ask, like, what is wrong with this boy? If he coughs, if he talks, rage is coming out. And he said, a senior did this to me. And the senior beat him black and blue. And the father was an army officer. He came to school and he brought out guns. They had to tell all of us to go to the hostel, I remember, or something. And he wanted to kill this guy. And the parents of the abuser did not, as in, of course, they were not there at the school that time, but the teachers had to hit him. And then I think he either left the school or he still remained to finish it. I can't remember anymore. But that's how bad it was. And just knowing that a senior would make your life miserable. There is a mate of mine. She was the SU in my.
What's the meaning of SU? What's the meaning of SU?
Yeah, SU is like the church goer.
Okay.
You know, I really don't know.
Oh, Scripture Union. She was in the SU. Scripture Union. Okay.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. And she was in my set.
Yeah.
She actually had senior friends that were also Scripture Union church people. And because one day I and other people were just talking about those seniors and what they do and that they lie, you know, they have boyfriends, but they do like they don't. You know, that kind of gossip. And she was there. She went to tell them. So they called us that were the people who spoke about them. And then at the end of the day, the other ones could run to their hostels. I couldn't. It's supposed to be what they used me for. They beat the living daylight out of me. That's from that night or that evening to the next morning. I was beaten. My face swole. I was taken to the sick bay. They beat me. And guess what this girl came to tell me? I mean, she's on my Facebook. I think when you were talking earlier on of what of what the seniors they do in your school, I was in a glance just now. Like as you were talking, I was just, you know what I said earlier on about repression.
Yeah.
It has been repressed. Now it's just like coming on camera, and I remember that they beat me so much that the next day I couldn't even stand. And then this girl from my set came and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that they're going to do this to you." I see her now, like this is 20-something years after.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I see her now and I'm like, do I forgive? How do I forgive? I don't know. Yes, the seniors, I do not remember them anymore.
Okay.
Funny enough. I do not remember them anymore or what, but I remember this, my mates.
Yeah.
This, my schoolmates who
Yeah.
did this to me, who told those people and told them to come get me. I remember her. It is so bad, you know. But in school, for me, I would for a whole. My friend right now hates boarding school. Like, if you tell him about boarding school, he gets hives. He gets goosebumps. Like,
I can't touch on my own. I can't
terrified.
touch on my own. I won't let my own have such experience.
I am not terrified. Unfortunately, you know, I'm not terrified. I think it was also a good experience, even though there were a lot of bad experiences, but I say it from the good side.
There was some good experience, but I don't know if I'll go with you there. Okay, do you know why? Because I understand the person you're talking about who is terrified about boarding school. I had to walk through myself. I had to get myself to a certain place where I can actually have this discussion with you on a normal voice. Okay. Because after some while, I was having nightmares years after the school. I was having like nightmares whereby I would wake up like something is wrong. Do you know when I knew that definitely something was wrong? I was speaking to one of my classmates, okay? Then we were having a discussion. It was a very long discussion. And then the stories about school came up. I'm telling you, this happened like 10 years later. And I told him about my nightmares. And he was like, he's also having the same. I'm like, what the fuck? Imagine, just try to imagine how many of us, without therapy, without talking to someone about those abuses, moving around in the society, hurting other people, carrying it on, giving it down to other kids, and then we are like, oh, we are okay, we are doing fine. You know, you are trained, you have to be strong. Strong? Seriously. it brings up a lot.